My people, welcome back to the Swervinn podcast. This is week 2 of the new STL roundup guest list, and I had to bring in a special guest. We've been. I feel like I've known Esco for a long time, but we've just been linked up this last couple years and just been curating and just catching up. And I've been catching a vibe with them too. So, welcome my guy Ryan Escobar.
What's up, man?
Welcome, bro.
How you feeling, man?
Good. It's been a minute. Welcome. Glad to have you.
So you was asking me before. Technically, I guess I'm Big Esco.
You are Big Esco.
Big
Yes.
Esco. I got a lot of different. It's Ryan Escobar. That's what that used to be my rap name, and then I kind of switched from that to Big Esco.
All right. That's what's up. We'll get to that because I got some questions on the old Esco. Because you go, I was kind of studying you. But boy got YouTube from 16 years ago. Like he goes deep. So we're gonna talk about that.
Okay.
But we'll save that. But man, we're in March now. It's 2026. How was 2025 for you? You're a big guy, DJing. You got a lot of things your hands in, creating, clothing, and all that. Like, what you have going on? How was 2025 for you?
2025 was a personal year for me. I got married last year. So I kind of was not putting the creative on a back burner, I would say, but it wasn't like my main focus. It wasn't how I was judging my year from a success or non-successful or failures. What was the wins? Like I was kind of putting all my eggs into getting married. You know what I'm saying? And it was
and that's the sacrifice of getting out the bachelor life.
Well, it wasn't even really that. It was more so just like my time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's like you said, I had already been in a relationship at that point for 3 years, so I hadn't been a bachelor for a while.
Right. Oh well, yeah.
At that point, technically.
Yeah.
But no, I do a lot of things. The clothes, the music. I didn't. We released a couple songs last year. Alexia put out a project last year. I did DJ. I started Just a Vibe last year, which is a series at the Passport. So I was doing things, but I was like, oh, should I be doing more? And when I felt like I was like, should I be doing more? I was like, no, wait, you're getting married. You're doing enough. That's enough. So 2025 for me is going to be highlighted by that. That's what I'm remembered about.
So and that's what's up, man. Like, I love your guys' relationship. It's true black love. I love when you guys like pull up in a presence. Like, it's always, Esco and Alexia, like it's all, I feel that. So, that's what,
thank you.
As a man, I look up to, black love, like what you got. So
yeah, I appreciate
I appreciate it. I wanted to tell you that. So that's what we prosper on. So that's what's up. How's 2026, man? What you cooking on now? Like, you got married, that's locked in. You guys are both creators. Like, right. So like, is it go mode again?
It's gonna be a big Souls of Liberty year. I don't know when this is dropping necessarily.
It's gonna drop on after 314 Day on Sunday.
After 314 Day. So this month, new Souls of Liberty is coming for sure.
Okay.
A video will be out right around the time that this is coming out. A song called Juke Forever on a project, 20,000 Hours, Volume 2, The Devil's Defeat. So just music. Like I dropped a shirt inspired by the Clips recently. Clips Raised Me shirt.
I need one.
Okay, hit me. I got you. But doing that, so I just want to stay consistent, dropping shirts, dropping merchandise inspired by the music. But no, this year my main focus is getting back to Souls of Liberty.
You dropped the front and T2, which is fire.
I did drop the front T. I can't. It's hard. Is that this year? Last year?
That was last year.
End of last year. Yeah. So I did that after I got married. Yeah. Yep. Or around that same time. So that shirt was important for me to come out with because I wanted to get back to releasing a little bit more regularly. So that was a design actually that I had been sitting on for years. That I just was like, life kind of happens. You know what I'm saying? Certain stuff took other priority. So that shirt was actually really important for me to kind of get out the vault so I can start getting other ideas out and leading to a lot of this new music that's coming.
I got some questions on that later, but
okay.
I got to tap into the young Esco, man. I feel like you're absorbed with like so much culture. What was the household like when like you were growing up? Like grandma's house, like mom's house, like what was like, how was it like?
So I'm the oldest of two. Me and my little brother, we got different moms. So we grew up together, but we didn't grow up like living day to day together for real. And I also had like bigger cousins. So music, my dad listened to music a lot. My mom listened to music a lot. Like I would say my mom listened to more newer R&B growing up at the time, what was contemporary, and my dad kind of listened to older rap. He listened to rock, like alternative. Like he kind of listened to everything for real. So And then my cousins were teenagers, so you just get the teenage, whatever's hot from that. Um, so that was kind of like my household. And then I'm really a basketball player. Like the creative stuff, like the stuff that you see creative was just the end of my basketball playing career. Like most people either know me from hooping or they just know me from like rapping, doing the other stuff. But when people knew me or like when they first met me when I was younger, it wasn't doing creative or singing or nothing. It was hooping. Like
I feel like through the hoops though and all that, like you constantly like before you go get off 30 or 20 or go get that touchdown, like you gotta absorb like some kind of music and like create your
yeah,
own zone
yeah,
and
yeah.
to zone out to perform. So music's a big beauty and passion within the sports. You gotta have it.
Yeah, it's the culture. Like to
Yes.
your point, it's the culture. So, but I was a real big TV watcher as well, just kind of by myself. Me, you talking about movies all the time. I was watching everything on TV, probably some stuff that I probably shouldn't have been watching. Just that was a little bit. I'm sure my mom would want me to, but I just had a mature palate. I kind of feel like because like my older cousins, my dad just would watch stuff with me and kind of just be trying to put me on like to the classics, stuff like that. But it kind of taught me how to find what I liked for myself. And so just early on, I just always had my own taste, like my own ideas.
I feel that. So you said that's good to know that you kind of like formed. I figured that like you were always a hooper, and then like sports ain't forever, and you always got that creative mind. Who were some family members that kind of influenced your choice of music, and like who were some rappers that crossed your pathway, like outside of the clips of like forming your own bars and like rapping and stuff, or like
Yeah.
maybe starting to spit freestyles and
I would
creating Esco,
I
big
would
Esco.
give my dad and my older cousin, um, Kendall, the most credit for my music taste growing up. Just because, like I said, I mean, they were just the two youngest, oldest male, and my cousin Alex, I would say. So like my big cousins and my dad, like they just had the newest rap CDs. Like they were either old enough to me than where they could get the rap CDs, or like I said, my dad just had a massive collection. But over the years, I found out how big of a collection in music connoisseur like my grandma is. Like my grandma like loves music, like and so she had records, CDs, like not I wouldn't say any genre, like she don't have no rap CDs, but jazz, blues, gospel, like the greats, like she was really into it. So younger, I was really into like well, obviously Nelly.
Hmm.
Like it was cool being a little kid from a city with a rapper, like with a big rapper. At the time, like rap was still growing. Like we didn't know that. So I didn't realize what was going on, but like the Lunatics and Nelly,
And
like
Nelly was young, so you could like connect to him. You could really
yeah,
connect to
he
him.
was like our guy. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like he was still very approachable to your
Hmm.
point. So like Nelly and the Lunatics. I was a big Juvenile guy as a
Yeah.
little kid. Like I said, my dad, cousins listen to Juvenile.
My
So
mom loves Juvie every day,
yeah. So
every day.
like Juvenile was like, recently they had like the Cash Money shit or whatever. It was just Mardi Gras. And so I was just looking up New Orleans music and I was like, damn, I love Juvenile. I forgot how much I like Juvenile. Um, I got into Biggie when I was little. Like my dad had Ready to Die. And so it was just like one of those things. Like I remember when Tupac and Biggie died, and it just was like I really couldn't get into Tupac's music because I just wasn't old enough really to like really understand it.
Hmm.
But like I could get into Biggie's music and just
Right.
like the production. And so that led me to trying to get into Jay-Z, Kanye. Um, it all just was kind of was going on at the same time for real. Like whatever it was, I was just trying to find the hot shit. Whatever people said was the hot shit, that's what I went to listen to when I was little.
So like we're gonna talk about your DJ sets, but they're very versatile and like they take me back, but we're gonna get to that. But the Swerving podcast, I like the turntables.
Okay.
Let people ask me a question or two. But what would be a question you'd ask me?
So you're obviously you grew up an athlete, right?
Hmm.
What where are you from again?
Like I'm from St. Louis. I claim St. Louis, but I grew up in Farmington.
Okay, you grew up in Farmington, yeah, because I had a homeboy I met at Mizzou
Yep.
that was from Farmington or whatever. My homeboy Taylor. Shout out to Taylor, man. But what's that how do you see that balance of because my family is from mid Missouri. And so like Salisbury, Moberly, Mexico, Marshall, Fulton, like
Yeah.
like I understand, I get that whole mix. But a lot of people from St. Louis don't even know like that exists for real.
The
You know what
Boot
I'm
Hill
saying?
and all that. Like
Just all that. Like what's that like being like a Missourians, in your opinion? You know what I mean? That
Of being
that
a true Missourian.
yeah, because some people are just from St. Louis. They
No, I
not
get
from,
that.
you know what I'm saying? But I'll be like, no, I low key be in Missouri, like
Nah, you know what's funny? I'll tell you a story. I moved from Farmington to McClure, South Berkeley, because
okay,
some things were happening. I was growing up. I was just fucking up down there a little bit. So I was like, man, I just need to go to the city for a little bit. And like I start like, I'm just outgoing, expressing myself to
right.
people and talking. I sat down at the lunch table at my first day of school, and I was just talking to some females, and they were like, I'll never forget. She was like, "Why do you got an accent?" And I was just like, that was a culture shock to me. Like that
Mm,
was like, damn, like
I'm different.
I'm totally different. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but I was like, I don't have an accent though. Like,
Right.
I just talk proper. And that's when I really learned what proper was, but learned what
Mm,
slang was. And then that's when I really took in like my blackness and what like the
mm,
importance of culture was. And then this is when I'll never forget this. So in Farmington, like, obviously I'm the minority down
right.
there. So, I just took pride in just trying to be like above in grades and all that and just performing. So I learned a lot down there. I soaked that in. So I came to McClure, and this is when I think it was around the time when Mike Brown died. It was, yeah, because
Okay.
yeah, and like the people, like the kids really didn't know about their First Amendment rights and all that,
Mm,
and like freedom of speech and all that. And so we were talking about it, just Mike Brown one day in class, dude. And I was just telling these kids, I was like, yeah, like you have a freedom of speech to like do whatever you want in the world. Like, so we were just kind of like hyping up, and there was like, so she was like, someone was like, so if we were just to leave like right now, we could just do it. I was like, technically, yeah, bro. The whole school left, bro.
Talking about
The whole school left. I called my mom. I was like, Mom, I think I kind of just decided right. She's like, you better not leave that school today. I was like, I'm not, but it's just crazy that like that's crazy, and that's the first time I kind of like knew I had voice, like
mm,
within like a room. And I was like, that's kind of when, yeah, I just kind of embody who I was as a black
yeah,
man. And I started like, that's when George Floyd died, like I helped protest down there and,
yeah,
stood on that. And like, it's just being a true Missourian. Cause I love white people too. Like there's
yeah,
more good white people than bad. I
right.
promise that. I
Yeah,
promise. But it's just all about love and spreading trueness at the end of the day
yeah,
because you know, people, kids move down there to get away from, to be out the streets and just play sports and graduate high school to get a
right.
career, go to college. Like, and I think like you got to kind of you got to live both sides to take it for someone down there to, understand.
Yeah, and what you're
So,
talking about too is like just that exposure. You
yeah, for
said just
sure.
having that little bit of exposure of Farmington put you in a totally different space from the cats at Berkeley, and they was like you said, you open a box. You know what I
Yes.
mean? So no,
So I'm
that's
definitely
real.
appreciative. Like, that's why I always call that like, that's home too, but this is home. Like, I'll claim this before that
Yeah,
because, I claim my blackness, but that's definitely like, that's my roots.
yeah.
So I
I
definitely,
just remember me and you had talked about that.
no, for
And
sure.
most people from St. Louis, like I said, just don't have no experience past West County, North County, Warrenton. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. Like they don't know nothing past that. So
Feel that.
that's real.
Every set I've seen you work as a DJ, I feel you bring like a lot of nostalgia to like the room.
Okay.
So, how do you go about like your choice of music, not like to life, but like to a set, or you kind of like picking like you creating your own vibe, or do you kind of like start playing and create to the room, or you kind of like a spur of the moment?
I use the room to kind of tell me what space to go into, but it's still based off of kind of what I want. Unless I'm doing like a birthday party or like a wedding or something, somebody hires me for something. Then if you hire me for something, yeah, tell me what you want to hear.
Right.
But if not, then people usually call me to like figure out what to do. And so that's kind of how I look at it. I really don't. I'll download songs and it'll be like new songs that I kind of want to start playing. But yeah, if I go do a set and there's only two people in here, I mean, I guess I could just do whatever, or I could use that opportunity to fill the space with something new. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I try to just use the vibe in the room to dictate.
I feel like if I hired you though, I wouldn't tell you to play anything. I would be trusting you if I hired you.
I mean, it just depends on what the event is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel
Like
that.
somebody 45, they be like, I want to hear this. All right, cool. Like, you know what I'm saying? I could still probably put them onto some shit, but it is good to know, like, if it's your event, like what you trying to do. You know what I mean? At
Mhm.
least give me a direction a little bit. Cause you pay for it. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of how I look at it. It's like it's your event. So you should hear exactly what you want to hear.
Let's talk about you coaching just for a second. Like,
Okay.
what's the importance of giving your time to like them young black men? Because I
Uh,
feel like it's so easy just to go off and get into some bullshit. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? So, what's the importance of just being there where your feet are, like in the time that you're with them?
it's my old school, Metro High School. So I mean, I helped start the program in a lot of different ways. Like my dad was the coach. Um, I went there with a couple other guys, and we started the program. Like before us, it really wasn't a program like that. So Tanel just wanted to go back and coach. Like
That's
that
who you
was,
rapping with, right?
yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. Best friend, brother, all that stuff. So he wanted to coach, and I when I went to Mizzou, well, obviously, after high school, I had opportunity to go play, and I just didn't want to anymore. I kind of wanted to start my creative journey. I didn't know what that was, but I was just like, it's time for me to try to do that. But at Mizzou, I was a women's practice player for the women's team.
Yeah,
And so that kind of kept me real close to the game. Obviously, intramurals, but like I referee. Like growing up, I could ref a game, keep the book, keep the clock, like run the gym, get the game started. I could do like that's kind of just how I grew up. Um, and so my senior year, I was having a really tough time in school, just like
senior year of college.
the senior year of college. Yeah, I was having a really tough time in school, just kind of like more so emotionally. And so I just kind of leaned back into the game and I started coaching our Mizzou's women's club team. And like we qualified for nationals, doing all other stuff. But Tanel was my assistant coach. And I kind of feel like that kind of pulled him back into the game too. And then from there, I kind of feel like he decided that he wanted to like really pursue coaching in a
Mm-hmm.
more serious
Kind of
way.
got that spark.
Yeah. And it's just something that I just do. Like it's just kind of part of the DNA. Like you kind of never stop, in my opinion. Like I just it's never stopped analyzing the game. Like I've just always kept up with it. So it's easy for me to kind of hop in and strategize and do that kind of stuff. But the real reason is just because it's just Metro.
Yeah.
And Jake just need the help. And so I just got pride in what we did.
Oh, that's fire though, bro. Because it's like it's easy to not give your time to something and
Yeah.
give it to something else. Like especially with someone like you that's got a lot going on.
Yeah.
So
I
I
really couldn't
respect that,
see
bro. I respect things like
yeah, I
that.
really couldn't see no better use of my time, to be honest. Like that's the best use of my time because like it just grows our brotherhood. Like I just and to keep me young, like I need to know what's going on with 15, 14. You know what I'm saying? Like what's going on? I'm
How they
curious.
kicking it? No, for
Yeah,
sure. Legacy ready to be a pops too, for sure.
yeah.
Um, Pure music versus club music. I saw your story. You were kind of snapping the other day. I like that snapping though. I kind of I respect it.
What I say?
You were kind of just talking about. You were just talking about how like people
Oh, the
like
St. Louis music stuff.
yeah. But I was feeling how I felt we were talking about. Talk about the times of like appreciating artistry because I feel like people don't really appreciate artistry, and it's a time of like people are going out to you know get to a level to repeat music and repetitive music instead of getting in a flow. So
Yeah.
kind of elaborate on like what you were talking about.
Well, kind of going back to your question too about like how do I pick my songs? Like the people don't know what they like until you give it to them. So even though something is trending, that you still haven't heard every song.
Mm-hmm.
There's a song right now that I could play for everybody. They'd be like, "Damn, this is a really good song. I've never heard it." Right? Um, so I just know for fact that you can't take what the crowd says as fact. They're never as good as you as they, you're never as good as they say. You're never as bad as they say either. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of the same thing like with art. And usually it's just something that's just not for you more than it's good or bad. Because I don't really think that art can be good or bad. Now, songs can be good or bad because you can't sing. The beat is not great. Like there are elements that you don't like, and there is a science to kind of making songs and music in that way, but it goes in ebbs and flows. When what people consider mumble rap was the most popular thing, there were still very much so artists keeping lyricism alive.
Mm-hmm.
When more gangster rap is more, it's people out there that's saying something that's got a message. You just gotta find it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And St. Louis is just a place that's just dominated by the club music. Like that's how we got on in the city. That's how people usually get on and take it to the highest level. There's been a lot of artists like
That's truth though.
you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's as an artist that like does not make club music, I would say, like I just get that. It doesn't make me upset. But I grew up understanding that like uh maybe the girls, the black girls I'm hanging out with, they like Yo Gotti. They not gonna listen to Lupe Fiasco.
Right.
But that don't make Lupe Fiasco not tight. They
Right.
just don't know Lupe Fiasco not tight.
Right.
I can listen to Yo Gotti and Lupe Fiasco. So it's not my fault that you can't enjoy both. So the person that just says only Lupe Fiasco is the best is not necessarily right. And the person who say Yo Gotti is the best not necessarily right. It's space for everything.
I feel that.
You know what I'm saying? And it's more so that people in St. Louis don't usually leave a lot of space for shit.
No, you're exactly right, bro. And I feel like that's kind of once you get out that scene though of kicking it, like you kind of appreciate different music though, and that's kind of like I feel like that's kind of where community is created now, and that's kind of where I've met people like you and stuff, and just in them different rooms of kicking it. Like when Chris had that set on 314 Day, like that was like a whole different vibe, like just of different sets and like curating and for people like you to open up a whole tune of like this is what music like people like you enjoy to actually know music to like get your ears to open up to some different shit. You know what I'm saying?
And don't get me wrong, like people are trying to party. Even the person
100%.
that's trying to hear Lupe Fiasco at 12:30 at midnight. I mean, it depends on the vibe, but I personally would rather hear Sexy Red at midnight. Personally. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not here to decide what's right or wrong or better or worse. That's what I'm saying. I feel like a lot of people try to come from that standpoint. And especially for me, like, people know how serious I just take rap. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like when I say certain stuff, like they take it as like gospel. And that's what I'm trying to tell them. Like, no, don't take what I'm saying as gospel. I'm just telling you. But I'm also telling you some of y'all don't actually know.
No, they don't.
And that's cool. You have to know that. That's the only way you kind of get on shit. But it's just like, yeah, y'all are crazy. I don't know what y'all talking about. Like,
no, I love that. That's a great answer.
That's fine too.
And yeah, man, I just feel like I'm just glad you haven't changed who you are though. To kind of try to catch that. You kind of just accept the lane you're in. And like I said, I was studying, bro. Like you've been doing this though. Like you really rap. Like know, so it's hard to. I get like when that story. That's why I was like, man, I understand. Like I understand that shit. It's even in the lane of creating this stuff. Like
that's real.
Like when the podcast, and that's kind of I was talking to Kent earlier, like off camera. Like when I study, I go listen. I have guests on. They've been on past podcasts, but I go listen to them podcasts and kind of watch their body tone and language. Are they really enjoying it and stuff? So that's kind of like when people are like, "What's the vibe?" Like you'll catch the vibe, So you kind of like
that's real.
That's just kind of how I feel about that shit. You gotta just get people's ears and eyes open a different way.
Yeah, no, that's real.
So that's kind of how I feel about that.
I like that.
Man, let's talk about that, man. Your old YouTube. No, let's talk about that. What's the importance of not needing a cosign to create though, and just doing the shit? Because you were kind of talking about how you were at that in the point, but I feel like now you're at a point of like you're not.
Yeah. So I was telling you before I moved to Chicago. And I just got to experience, I got to get a glimpse inside the industry. Like I got to be around people that was like, I was managing the studio. One of my little homeboys was up there. His name DJ AO. He rapping with this dude Polo G. And then like a couple weeks later, they got like millions of views on YouTube. And now he's a big producer and he's a big rapper. I got to, you know what I'm saying? Just like, I got to see it like that. I got to see the girl, oh, she was singing R&B, now she's doing this, now we here.
You got to see overnight turnover.
I got to see, oh, damn, now, and to the point to where I had, like I said, stopped rapping for those years, and now I'm at dinner, like with L.A. Reid, and I'm like, oh, okay, I get the industry now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I finally just had to get it, and once I got it, I just was like, oh, I'm not an industry nigga. And so that was it. I get it. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just not. It's certain stuff that certain people are willing to do for certain looks that I'm just not willing to do. And so I just don't feel that way about myself.
That's why you're big Esco. That's why I love that. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I'm not here to say again, like before, and that's what I was gonna say. Like I had those same frustrations that people had. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it from a place of like I haven't been on that side of the fence. You know what I'm saying? But it's like I didn't want to stay there. And so you kind of got to go on your own journey. And for me, once I raised the veil and realized, well, one, the industry that I was chasing doesn't exist anymore. So that's one realization, you know what I mean, that I need to change how I'm viewing stuff. And then two, even if I got into this industry, I'm not really sure that this wouldn't be my end all be all, no way.
So I'm gonna stop you right there. So your younger YouTube creating days, like you were really creating Mr. Big stuff, like
Yeah, yeah,
and Future Millionaires. I feel
yeah.
like was if you made that today, do you feel like you were ahead of your time a little bit?
Do I feel like I was ahead of my
But
time?
you were just kind of like creating your own flow. I feel like people
No, I
kind of
don't
like
think I was. We weren't ahead of our time. We just weren't. We just in a club city. And I
That's-
immediately experienced it. I'm telling you, I went to Chicago. I didn't do nothing no different than I'm doing here. Met my homeboy. Hey, I need somebody to mix my music. Introduced me to this dude. This dude was like, oh damn, this is tight. Woo woo. Now I'm here. Now you know what I'm saying? Like I just was in the wrong. I was just in a club city.
no, I feel that.
And me and Tanel started Souls of Liberty on a spring break. We was like, damn. Me and Tanel had been rapping. Like Tanel is like a rapper.
No, he got bars.
Like he's a rapper.
He got
He's the
bars.
best rapper that I've personally met. Just like on what he can rap on. It hasn't been nothing I've never heard him not be able to rap on, which lets me know, oh, he's like one of the best rappers. But even as a little kid, he was like that. And we used to write a lot. And one day we was just talking. We was just like, I mean, Soulja Boy is cool. Don't get me wrong. But this is not hot. Like it's hot, but it's not good. Let me say
He ain't
that.
talking about nothing.
It's hot though. This shit is hot. I love Soulja Boy. I got me some Bathing Names. All that shit. Like I was listening to it. But we was like this, like our friends and our peers was taking this as like, this is the best hip hop. And like I said, we students of the game. So we really listening. So we watched Jay-Z's the Black Album documentary. Watched him make that, and then we was like, spring break, fuck it, we finna make a mixtape. So I just opened my MacBook, and then we made a mixtape right there. But it came from that energy of like, man, y'all think this is tight, but this is actually what's tight. You know what I'm saying? It just kind of came from that. I just felt like that's what you're supposed to do. Like,
No, for sure.
everybody doing it. Okay, this is tight, but this is tight. And that's kind of just how as I've matured, just kind of kept looking at it that way. Like, okay, this is cool, this is cool, this is cool too. What about this? And so either people can be like, that is a good option, or they can't get with it. And it's just like,
I love that.
Just gonna live with it. I can live with it.
For sure, your own lane.
Yeah.
That's really creating.
So that's kind of to your point of like why we kind of just had to get to a point where we had to accept it, or we was gonna drive ourselves crazy. You know what I'm saying? It was that kind of a thing. But I think the experience away from St. Louis and getting on and actually getting to like a music titan and talking to L.A. Reid, seeing what he was doing, seeing where the industry was going, I was like, oh, to be honest, I don't think me and Tanel could have did this anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like, not because it's not like a talent thing, but just like, we're not them kind of people.
I feel that. And that's respect.
Yeah.
And that's being self-aware. Me and Brock were talking about that earlier. So that's things you got to do just to be able to be where your feet are, you know, and create and love it, you know. So that's what's up, bro. I got a couple more questions, then we're gonna get into some rapid fire Swervinn Q&A that I have with everybody.
Let's do it, man.
I got one more question for you for your last question for me. What do you love most about like the new STL? I feel like you've been in like you've seen both sides of it. Like I said, Brock, you've probably seen 2 decades of it, and it's seen it change a bunch of times. What do you love about the new STL now?
I guess I get a little confused on when did the new STL start?
I guess it didn't, but I just feel like, you know, it's just
I guess I kind of understand what people say, but then that kind of goes back to why I made the statement about the club music.
Yep.
Right? It's the same shit.
It is the same shit.
Like country.
We got our own swag though.
Yeah, I mean St. Louis, yeah, we got our own swag, but I'm just saying that like as far as you grew up in St. Louis and you was kind of mentioning, like you kind of said it, you was like these other rooms, right? Or people be like, yeah, the cool scene, the cool niggas. And I've always just thought that was real interesting because it's like, I mean, I could go to the Marquee, feel comfortable.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Hang out. I could go, I guess, to the art stuff and go do that too. So I've never looked at them as like 2 separate experiences. I just looked at as the niggas who didn't go to the art scene, they was missing out. And then the people, I would say people on the art scene don't not go to the Marquee stuff. It's usually just the niggas who go to the club stuff that don't come to our side.
I would say the Marquee isn't too far outside of the art scene though. too far, but that's like that's
That's what I'm saying,
outside.
because
It's
people
out.
from the art scene go to the Marquee.
Yeah, I get what you're
They
saying.
go to Fahrenheit. They go to Renouche.
I ain't going to Fahrenheit.
I'm not either, but I'm just saying. I know that it's people who I've hung out with that have been to Fahrenheit for sure. You know what I'm saying?
I guess the new STL to me is kind of like, I don't know. We just we just like, to me, it's just a different lane. Like, you just kind of put your shit into different time and just forming the new STL. Like, you're not in the club and stuff. Like, you're coaching and doing basketball and stuff. And
Right.
like, I don't know, like making music and just really creating, and like, I don't know. It's just different. It's just new. It's just like,
I'll say this.
I feel like we talk about different stuff than like getting high all day and stuff, and like,
But I feel like
just
it's
like,
always been people like that. Black Spade been around. I remember.
sure.
I remember getting Black Spade for
I'm
the
just
CD.
getting hip on all y'all though, so I
But
guess I'm new to it.
Well, not even you. I understand the sentiment that people say. That like, if from a rapper standpoint, what niggas is really trying to say is like, it was Nelly and Chingy and them, and now it's gonna be our turn. And we the new St. Louis. But I'm like, we still just St. Louis. I don't look at
We
it
are
like,
St.
you know what
Louis.
I'm saying? Like, and to me, that mentality means that then somebody has to stamp you. That means the city got to stand behind you. And that's not what happened with Nelly and them.
No.
The city did not stand behind them, and then that's what got them signed. No, he went to New York, they moved out of town, and then that's what happened. Chingy got signed to Ludacris. It wasn't because he was the hottest rapper on the north side, and then everybody was buying his mixtapes, and then the street. No, that's not what happened. You know what I'm saying?
No, I feel
Jaquan
that.
got signed to So Def. So I'm just kind of saying that to say that, like,
You kind of feel, I've talked to them guys too. I've talked to Murphy Lee and them guys, and I feel like that's kind of why they don't like. They
it
don't
makes
get
them feel
like,
away. I get that because I've talked. I like, you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm
Mhm.
kind of saying. It's like we are just St. Louis.
No, we are.
It's only people, to me, jealous of Nelly and Murphy Lee and them and of their popularity that want to distinguish it.
I guess like I was reading that sign in there too, though. It was like saying you're at the bottom when you're competing, and collaborating's at the top. I feel like the new St.
Yes.
Louis is kind of there though, like just collaborating more. Like I feel like a lot of people just aren't kind of. I feel like a couple years ago, like when someone actually do something, people kind of look around it like
Right.
10 different ways. It's financially, like what is there raised on
still
it
do
and
that.
stuff. Like they still do that, but
Yeah.
I feel like it's like a lot more genuine for us to
Yeah.
all grow there. You
And
know what I'm saying?
I do feel like, if anything, the new St. Louis is another level of awareness.
Yes, for sure.
Like I would say, but then that's what I'm saying. Like I feel like I've talked to OGs that had that same level of awareness,
I have to, yeah.
and they just was like, it's just St. Louis. It kind of is what
And
it
it's
is.
and it's the culture you absorb too. So
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So that's why I'm saying I'm not saying that to downplay that there's not a movement of new people in St. Louis, new energy, new artists. Like that's always been the case for us. Like that's St. Louis. That's why we tight. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But I don't want people to get caught up in like you have to hit a certain metric to be a relevant artist in St. Louis.
I feel like Sexy Red gave people that outlet too. Like Sexy Red was just her, and like she
Yeah.
got like, that just sparked people to kind of like, I feel like that was just like, all right, like it just kind of reminded people what St. Louis is, to kind of bring that
She got a
that new
real
spark,
raw energy,
and
it's you
America
can't.
loves her,
Yeah,
like
you
because it's
can't.
her,
You can't emulate, and that's what I'm saying. She grew up in
And-
one of the best club scenes.
Yep.
Like we don't get the no, but for real, like people don't look at that as like a skill, but like Atlanta has strip clubs. For St. Louis to not have strip clubs, like if you make a hit song and you from St. Louis, it could go all the way. And it's just kind of like in our DNA. So that too is another reason why I try to be able to represent something else. Cause like growing up, it was like, yeah, I like the St. Lunatics, and they were the first version of rappers that I saw, but I always felt like, but they don't really represent me for real.
I feel that.
Like,
That's why you rep
I
the
like
Clips though.
them. I think they can rap. I like what they're doing, but if I had the chance, that's not what I would do.
I feel that.
I would do this.
Mhm.
But everybody else was only trying to do what they were doing. You know what I'm saying? And so it was like, and so then if people take that mentality, then it's like, well, that's not St. Louis. This is St. Louis. I'm like, well, nigga, I'm from St. Louis. How do y'all know me? Because I'm from St. Louis. So, you know what I'm saying?
I feel
Like,
that.
it's that kind of. So that's what I'm saying. Like, people usually who trying to wave a flag or something, either just jealous or they not from St. Louis.
I feel that. I love that. Good answer. You elaborate on that well to think both sides of it.
So they've been doing this for a long time, like you said.
What would be your last question for me?
What with your podcast or whatever, like you said, I've seen you interview a wide, like you have probably interviewed the widest range of St. Louisans, I would say, from like business owners to creatives to artists, men, women. Like I feel like what what would you what would you look at as like a goal
A
for
goal?
this show, for this, I wouldn't even say the show, the platform that you're building?
I mean, I guess like I don't know. That's kind of hard to answer at the moment because all this just started off a passion. Like, dude, I started podcasting because I was protesting, and I was just tired of protesting. Because like, if you ever protested, like that shit's draining, bro. Like, and people, I wanted to like, we weren't getting past nothing. We weren't evolving off the protest. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, you can only go shout at people so long. So I was like, in that small town, I was just really trying to connect to something different, and just get people to just be like aware of like the times and like
Mm-hmm.
the real times and like what this TV's like what this thing is getting us like to think and stuff.
Right.
So I feel like I just had like God just placed me with a voice to just talk to different people and get them on a different scale of thinking. So I really just started from that and just started talking to people, but no one went to talk about politics.
Right. I
So
got you.
I just kind of I just felt good about just talking like to my friends, and it started like just getting
Growing.
warm. And yeah, I was walking into this place one time, and this lady, like, she was just like, your voice. She was like, your voice, baby. She's like, whatever you do with it, just like keep going. And I was just like, that got me like the spark to like, all right, I guess like I'm on this right thing. So it's never really been a goal. I just felt like I just kind of been where my feet are with it. So I kind of just enjoy like where I am. And if it was like, I feel like if it was a goal with it, I wouldn't have spend money on it and stuff. So I just kind of just do it. Like, I want to have this conversation with you.
Yeah.
It's not like I need to have it. And I felt like if I had a goal, I felt like it'd be more of a need, So
That's
and I
fire.
feel like that's why like, like the vibe, like you're like, what's the vibe? And all that. Like, you're gonna get the vibe like once we're here. So I just want people to like once they, and then like Brad asked me that too, like it'll get to its own thing. Like I want people to like fly to St. Louis because STL is a melting pot, and I want people to be like, hey, Swerve, we need you to on this podcast. But people to buy into my platform, and I feel like that would be my like that's where I'll know like all this was like worth what I foresaw.
That's fire.
Through the pain,
That's
of
fire.
like protesting and
I
stuff.
like how you put that. That's real. And I was gonna say to that too, like Mike Brown was real pivotal. I left that, like Mike Brown happened what, August 11th, whatever,
Yep.
2014. I would say I moved from St. Louis in December of that year. And yeah, that Mike Brown shit was real heavy because it was like we used to record all of our music kind of back in there in Ferguson, in that neighborhood. Like the Quick Trip that burned down, like that's why I was bought my first Swishers and shit like that. Like I just was over there a lot. But seeing like the way that the city kind of reacted to that, like was just like, I don't know. It was like being in like a movie. The closest thing that's been to it to me is like the tornado.
No, for
Where
sure.
it was like a shared trauma event. Cause St. Louisans, to your point, even though we're a melting pot, like people be in their own silos. So I don't know what the fuck's going on in West County. It could blow up tomorrow and I just wouldn't know, you know what I'm saying? Cause it's
No, real
like,
deal.
if it didn't go on the news, I wouldn't have no idea that happens, you know what I mean? And so, but it felt like for the first time that like in a long time, like Mike Brown was like this shared event that you couldn't kind of get away from. And Tornado was like that to me. It was like this shared event. And that's kind of probably what St. Louis is missing. That's when St. Louis is at its best. It was like, that's why we like sports. Because we don't really bond over nothing else for real in St. Louis.
That's
like,
facts.
well, if the Cardinals winning, niggas in St. Louis having a good time because it's like, damn, we all fuck with the Cardinals. Like, you know what I'm saying? But like, if that's not really going on, then it ain't really shit to talk about.
No, I feel that. That's facts though.
Yeah.
It makes you think. All right, man. You ready to get some Swervinn Q&A? It's been a fire convo, man. I've appreciated
Yeah,
this.
I appreciate you having me, man.
What's something you try to do to make a positive impact on those people around you? Like kind of like outside the coaching and stuff, like people spend daily time with, like
I try to be honest with them.
No, I feel like that's a hard but easy. It's an easy but hard thing to do,
Yeah, and I feel like I've built enough trust with the people in my life that if I say something to them, they'll take it, like knowing that I'm not saying it out of a place of maliciousness, but like, okay, because most of the time, most of people, 95 of the interactions I'm trying to have are usually goofy or silly. I would say I'm not really trying to have a serious interaction with you. So if I have to have a serious interaction with you, I'm serious.
I love that.
Because I don't have too many serious interactions with people.
What's something you wish you known 10 years ago?
When I was 25, something I wish I'd known. That's a good question.
Want to come back to it?
Yeah, let's come back to that. Let's
I got you.
let's
I
come
got
back
you.
to that. Stop me.
What's legacy to you?
Legacy is just gonna be how I'm remembered. That's it. Like I don't really, you're never going to get to hear how you're remembered.
I feel that.
Because it's like even if you do something, it's like you can hear it, you can see it. But Michael Jackson don't really know what we think.
No, for sure.
He'll never really know. Like it's going on now. It's gonna continue. So that's legacy to me.
That's fire. If you had the money or power, what would you change or bring to St. Louis?
I would build my own basketball gym.
Okay. Inside or indoor, outdoor?
Indoor.
Okay.
Indoor. Real gym.
All right, bet. Let's go back to that question. What's something you wish you known 10 years ago?
That I'm good enough for all the things I want to do.
All right, that's fire.
I probably questioned that 10 years ago. Like, am I good enough? Like, yeah, I'm good enough.
I feel like you do that at 25 for sure.
Yeah.
And two more.
Okay.
One I ask everyone: would you rather have $1 million every year for 10 years, or $10 million in one setting, and why?
I want the $10 million right now because might not make it to the next 10 years. I don't know what's gonna happen in the next 10 years.
All right.
I need that $1 million might not even worth $1 million in 10 years. I need that 10 million right now.
All right, bet. I love that.
I'll decide what to do.
Don't worry. That's why I ask it. Everyone's so different. And who would you like to see on Swervinn?
Alexia Simone.
Yes, we got to.
One of the best R&B singers in St. Louis history.
Got to.
So I heard.
And we was talking outside of that, so that's definitely gonna happen. We're gonna do that. And Esco, man, it's been fire. You got any shout outs, wrap ups? What you got going on in 26?
BigEsco.com, man. Big Esco on everything. Just follow me. New music, more clothes, more peace, more love, all the good stuff. But yeah, fuck with me. I fuck with you.
Esco the best.
Man.
This Big Esco, my dog. This Swervinn podcast. We're back, but we're out. Swerve.